Greetings everyone, I'm Jed Shlackman. I work as a holistic counselor, a hypnotherapist, and energy healer. I'm also an author, and for the current video I will be reading a section of my book, Past Lives, Spiritual Regression, Limitless Consciousness and Self-Integration. This is the third section of the book, which covers question and answer. So we'll be going through a series of common questions that may come up in relation to past lives and regression therapy. Part 3, Questions and Answers. What are methods used to access past life or alternate life memories? There have been a variety of methods used to help relax the mind so it can shift from its typical external focus and mental chatter to begin to open up to deeper levels of awareness and access the soul's memories. Meditation, hypnosis, chanting, sound vibration, psychedelic plants, and guided visualization exercises can all help facilitate these experiences. Young children sometimes have a natural recollection of their previous life that comes up spontaneously. Over time, they tend to let go of their attachment to that previous identity, since their present life experience would be disrupted by having conscious awareness of our many other lives. Can everyone be hypnotized? The states of consciousness that arise during hypnosis are normal states that we all pass through at many times. There is a continuum between being in a deep sleep state and being highly awake and alert, and we all cycle through that spectrum of consciousness. Hypnosis is meant to help guide and sustain a focus in an intermediate range where the person is not asleep but is deeply relaxed and able to access subconscious material and respond easily to verbal suggestion and cues. It is easier for some people to stay in that state as compared with others, so responding to hypnosis comes more easily and naturally for some individuals than for others. However, with practice, even those who initially have difficulty getting into the desired state are often able to respond adequately. Keep in mind that we all have different factors affecting our ability to relax or focus in any given moment, so the timing of a session can make a difference. How will I see or perceive what is happening as I am having the recollection of another time? This varies from one person to another. Consider if you were being guided to recall something that happened recently in your present life. You might perceive the imagery, the scenery, the people present, the activity occurring, as well as what you were feeling and thinking at that time. You might hear conversations or have a knowingness of what was significant about the experience and how it relates to the present. Past life recollections are quite similar. Sometimes people feel themselves fully immersed in the past self-identity, while other times they experience it as though they are observing the other self from a distance. Your perspective can also shift during the experience. Sometimes memories come through in brief flashes or rapid flurries of images. Other times it may be a more steady and detailed flow. With experience and practice, it is common for people to get a more deep and detailed review of those memories than when first exploring the process. I encourage people to be open to whatever their own perceptions and experiences are. Let go of the inclination to judge, question, or compare what you experience. The analytical mind can create resistance and interference to what the soul may wish to bring through. Just surrender to your inner guidance and the facilitator's cues, and be open to all of your senses and perceptions during a regression session. Is past life regression related to reading Akashic records? The Akashic records refers to the soul's records of all lives and the collective records of all souls. It is a field of memory or information that can be accessed via a variety of methods. Akashic records readings apply psychic or intuitive methods to be shown that information. They do not normally involve a person actually revisiting the memory and being immersed in that recollection. The information revealed may be congruent, but the Akashic reading isn't as direct an experience of that recorded life experience as the regression experience would be. If I am shown a future time, does it mean that things will happen in the future just as I am shown? People can access future quote-unquote memories or visions, which can be understood as possible or probable futures. Thus, the future you experience may be congruent with what you witness in the future progression, but it might turn out differently. As we shift and change ourselves, the future can shift also. Some things may be less malleable than others, as there is more energetic power and inertia or momentum leading towards some realities than others, relative to one's current point of reference. Is what I witness an actual past life, or is it just something my mind has imagined? Our minds can certainly be imaginative and dream up interesting things. However, the past life regression experience involves going into a deep state where the mind is letting go and allowing the soul to bring up relevant memories. Even if the stories and scenarios that appear were just imaginary, they generally provide explanations and releases that offer value to help transform or heal. Whether one is able to research historical details and confirm a memory or not, the experience provides benefits for the person. Often, truly remarkable benefits that are very positive and life-changing. There have been many cases that have been researched where historical details that the individual would not have known by any ordinary means have been confirmed. Thus, for at least some cases of memories uncovered during regressions, it has been validated that they are accurate memories or psychic impressions of things that happened in another era. Can a person be possessed by a negative spiritual entity while under hypnosis? Spirit attachments can occur in our lives with or without participating in hypnosis. They can occur to varying degrees. Sometimes our emotional states or disruptions in our energy field, our aura, lead to spirits from the lower level of the afterlife realm attaching to our energy and having some influence. In extreme situations, it may appear as a full possession, although this is in some way a voluntary situation. A person with major psychological issues can dissociate from the body and let other spirits or personalities take charge of that body. Substance abuse and major traumas are common factors associated with spirit attachments. hypnosis is generally a safe process, not much different than a guided meditation. It is a state that can facilitate connections with the spiritual realm, a realm which includes the presence of a wide variety of beings. Some of those beings may be perceived as having a mainly dark or negative alignment, and others as being light or positive. Hypnotic regression, used as a therapeutic tool, would use the power of the person's soul and higher level spiritual helpers to help clear out any negative influences and heal any traumas and disconnected soul fragments that could have created a vulnerability to negative attachments. Spirit attachments of a negative nature can occur when hypnotic methods are used with dark-oriented occult practices or rituals. When people invite in those influences, they may have difficulty breaking away from them. Some people who connect with spiritual entities may have weaknesses that lead them to give away their power to manipulative entities. Connect with your own higher self and divine essence and seek to be guided by love and truth if involved with channeling, mediumship, and related spirit communication endeavors. Be mindful that you need to be responsible and empowered in your own life, not inviting any external entity to take responsibility for you and your actions. This applies not just to avoiding unhealthy spirit attachments, but also to unhealthy codependent and energetically or psychologically manipulative relationships with other people. Will I remember what I experienced after the session? Most of the time, people have pretty clear recall of what they experienced. If you are concerned about this, you can have your session audio or video recorded so you can review it later. The ideal state for regression hypnosis is one where you are not asleep, but are in a fairly deep trance, where you are immersed in the memories and yet still able to communicate with the person guiding you in the session. You will be guided into and out of that state, and there is often the suggestion given that you will be able to recall your experience and all that you learned once you have returned to your regular state of full alertness. If I access a memory where something harms my body in that other life, will it cause harm to my present self? Interestingly, the unreleased energy and emotions from past traumas often do have a ripple effect that is disturbing the aura and the body in the current time. Regression hypnosis actually functions to bring healing by releasing and diffusing the stuck energy from that trauma or injury. Therefore, the accessing of the memory brings an opportunity to dispel the harm that may have previously been impacting your present life body. Recalling an injury from another life will not create a new injury to your current body. Do people go to heaven or hell when they die? Heaven and hell, as typically conceived, are religious belief system concepts based upon the notion of divinely administered reward or punishment. The afterlife spiritual realm offers a wide range of experiences. Some of the lower levels of the spiritual realm include what some out-of-body travelers have called belief system realities. These are projections of thought and belief systems that generate a dreamlike construct for spirits to experience. Those constructs then disappear from the spirit's experience when the spirit lets go of the beliefs. They are revealed to be illusory. Thus, spirits with strong beliefs about heaven and hell can visit those illusory belief system realities after passing from the physical plane. However, that experience will be temporary, as eventually they will be guided by their spiritual guides and helpers to move on from that state and progress further in their learning and exploration of the afterlife realm. The more advanced levels of the spiritual realm could be considered heavenly, since they are filled with a loving energy that brings peace and shines light to help spirits gain wisdom and further their development. This is not a religious heaven where one spends eternity sitting beside a religious character or singing and playing a harp with human-looking angels. In the spiritual realm, our thoughts and intentions manifest almost instantly, so we can quickly create things and can quickly bring ourselves to different locations by focusing our attention and intention. For further reading on the subject of belief system realities, I would recommend the books of Robert Monroe and Bruce Moen. Robert Monroe was the founder of the Monroe Institute, which has been a leader in education and research related to out-of-body experiences in the afterlife realm. Monroe and his colleagues developed methods using guided exercises and binaural sound tones to help people access those states and document their experiences. What do people experience and learn in the afterlife realm? The spiritual realm is a place of ongoing learning and exploration. As the spirit progresses there, it would become less attached to a previous physical incarnation, although initially many spirits still carry a strong attachment to the recent human identity and its concerns. As spirits release their mental and emotional baggage from the human experience, they are able to access higher perspectives. They can better understand the issues that are explored during physical incarnations and can thus prepare for further co-creative adventures based upon their evaluation of prior experiences. Souls are learning to become more masterful creators. Since that realm is not bound by the rules and limitations of physical reality, the experiences that unfold there would be hard to accurately relate to the human mind and its frame of reference. The mind may interpret or translate a learning session from the spiritual realm as being in a classroom with the imagery of a physical classroom on earth. The repository of memories of the soul might be interpreted as a library with books or a theater with film screens. The mind may interpret spiritual helpers via the imagery of angels with wings or a spiritual teacher such as Christ or Buddha. Thus, some of what people describe about the spiritual realm is based upon the symbolic imagery that the mind has used to process the experience. If we were pure consciousness, we might present the spiritual realm in more abstract metaphysical terms. It could be described as a place of light, wisdom, love, and understanding, where thought, intention, attention, awareness, and consciousness are the basic dynamics of reality. Is there a negative consequence for committing suicide? Suicide is a method of ending one's incarnation that is not uncommon. In some sense, everyone is engaged in a form of suicide when they leave behind their body. Humans just tend to look disapprovingly on suicide when it occurs in a very deliberate, abrupt way. A person who is gradually damaging his or her body with poor diet, drugs, or lethargy is engaged in a slow form of withdrawing from life, yet people don't usually react to that eventual death the same way they do when a person shoots himself or jumps off a bridge or tall building. Since people carry out those deliberate suicides as well as gradual subconscious suicides under a variety of personal circumstances, it is up to that spirit and its guides to evaluate that choice once the spirit has crossed over. I have guided many people through recollections of having carried out suicide in other lifetimes. People sometimes end their lives before they have been able to fulfill some of their pre-life plans, so they may create a similar scenario in an upcoming incarnation to bring an opportunity to make a choice to persevere in difficult times rather than choosing to escape. Some suicides come when a person is very ill or badly injured and suffering greatly. The person may be seeking to end their own suffering or to alleviate the burden of loved ones who are caring for them. It may have appeared to be the best choice for all concerned in that situation, and it is a matter for the spirit to review and evaluate when able to view the situation from the perspective provided in the spiritual realm. There are repercussions of any action we are taking, but the repercussions are to provide feedback and help us grow and learn. Therefore, it is not a punishment and not negative. The feedback system is there to support spiritual evolution. With our own beliefs, we sometimes punish ourselves. If we carry guilt, shame, and self-judgment, then we may be creating experiences that reflect our beliefs about ourselves, not the creative source's feelings toward us. Will I reincarnate as an animal? Spirit can incarnate in any life form. However, a spiritual consciousness that has entered the human incarnational cycle would generally not have reason to shift to embodying an animal. A progression that I have encountered in some cases is a person recalling having been in an animal form prior to beginning human incarnations. There are also spiritual practices that involve a shaman or other esoteric practitioner bringing their consciousness temporarily into an animal to use that animal for some purpose, essentially possessing the animal. But this is not an actual incarnation. While some religions and some children's tales present the idea of a human reincarnating into or turning into an animal, it is not something to be concerned about. If something unpleasant happens in the past life memory, will my mind get stuck there and unable to return to my present life? People don't get trapped in the state of re-witnessing the memory, just as no one remains in their nighttime dream reality when they awaken in the morning. In the case of regression work, the person usually does hold on to the memory of what they recalled after they are guided to come back to the present. What can happen if the regression session is not adequately processed is that some energetic and emotional residue may be brought up and remain uncleared. The therapeutic process is one in which memories are reprocessed so that they no longer carry a negative emotional charge and can then be reviewed and can be viewed without resistance or any traumatic reaction. Just as in other forms of effective therapy, the purpose of revisiting a trauma is not to reactivate and identify with the trauma, but rather to accept the experience and release the energy as you redefine your relationship with that experience. People exhibit PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, or syndrome, when unresolved past traumas are subconsciously active and intruding upon their lives in the present. Until the trauma is healed, an aspect of the mind is stuck there, still carrying the emotions and reactions from that time. So regression therapy would be a valuable method to bring to light what has been stuck in the subconscious mind so that healing and relief can occur. Therefore, instead of causing a person to go back to a memory and get stuck, regression is a tool to help a person retrieve the aspect of the consciousness that has been stuck and enable it to become unstuck. Often, conventional talk therapy fails to heal trauma because merely revisiting the memory while in the regular conscious mental state usually fails to facilitate a means of reprocessing the memory. It may just re-stimulate the physical and emotional reactions associated with the trauma. Of course, avoiding and suppressing the memory also fails to heal it. Regression therapy is one method that has often yielded excellent results with healing trauma, since it integrates the conscious mind with the subconscious mind and superconscious soul. When I clear or release or understand something from a past life, will that cause an instant shift in my present life? Sometimes there are pretty immediate results after a session, while other shifts are ones that unfold over a period of time. It is common for people to feel different after a session. Many individuals report feeling lighter, or as though a burden has been lifted. Sometimes physical pains disappear. It is not unusual for a major change in a person's life to occur after regression therapy. This could be a change in job or career, the beginning or ending of a relationship, or a physical move or relocation. Since past, present, and future are all interconnected in a field of energy and consciousness, when you shift something at that deep level of consciousness, there are likely to be shifts and effects in the present time-space reality. This is similar to what many near-death experiencers have reported and exhibited: spontaneous healings, new outlooks on life, new interests and pursuits, and in general a more spiritually focused life and heightened intuition and synchronicity. Each person experiences what they are ready for. Not everyone is ready for radical changes in their lives, and not every regression experience is exceptionally vivid or life-changing. Yet it is helpful to recognize that major shifts can occur and to embrace them when they do. Do past life memories sometimes appear in dreams? Memories of other lives do occasionally appear in people's dreams. This may occur when there is some trauma or unresolved issue from that other time that is coming up through the subconscious mind to bring an opportunity for healing or resolution. While dreams contain multiple layers of content, it is helpful to recognize that in addition to symbolic aspects of dreams, there can also be vivid replays of memories and even precognition, visions of a future potentiality. Can I receive information about my past lives through a psychic or channeler? Yes, there are some psychic mediums and trance channelers who often relay information about other incarnations that your soul has experienced, especially those incarnations that are having some influence or relevance to your current incarnation. One such medium is Kevin Ryerson. His website is kevinryerson.com, KevinRyerson.com, whose skills are internationally recognized and have been used by TV shows and various authors to assist in their work. I personally encountered a case that seemingly corroborated Ryerson's publicly documented account of past lives of a famous entertainer who is currently deceased. The parents of a child who had detailed memories of being that celebrity in his past life came to me with the child for confirmation and validation of what was occurring. The child had clear conscious memories of the previous life that included information that even the biggest fans of that entertainer would not have known. A young child who couldn't read would have no way of learning about the public figure in such detail. I ended up facilitating a regression session for the mother, whose inner guidance led her to review scenes from a past life where she had a connection to a certain individual a few centuries ago who was described by the channeler Ryerson to be a past incarnation of the modern entertainer. This woman had never previously heard of this historical character, let alone his being reported to be the past incarnation of the entertainer that her son claimed to be. Subsequent to doing the session, she discovered the website where Ryerson's information about that past life connection was documented in a research session with Dr. Walter Semke. So Walter Semke, he has a website of research about reincarnation cases. If you're curious about Walter, you can look him up. His first name is spelled W-A-L-T-E-R. His last name is spelled S-E-M-K-I-W. Does the physical appearance of a person in one incarnation affect the physical appearance in another incarnation? Physical marks or characteristics can carry over into a new incarnation. They don't necessarily do so, but there does seem to be a potential and correlations found for this to be occurring. Those researching well-known historical figures and their current or previous lives often see some similarities in facial features between the incarnations. Birthmarks are often associated with marks or injuries that occurred in a previous life. Psychiatrist Dr. Ian Stevenson, a renowned researcher and author from the University of Virginia, had looked closely at the connection between birthmarks and past life memories. He found that the physical location of a past life wound or traumatic injury would often correspond with a present life birthmark or birth defect. You may notice when observing some people you know that they don't much resemble their biological parents. There may be families where some siblings look a lot like their parents, while other biological siblings appear much different. This could be due to the influence of the soul carrying the memory of another incarnation into the present life and influencing the genetic field that forms the body. Biological genetics fail to fully account for the many variations in appearance of human beings. Genetic memory and soul memory can both be factors that help shape the development of our physical body and features. The modern science of epigenetics is also revealing how much our consciousness and our reactions to our environment shape our genetic expression and can be passed along as influences on future generations. Does being homosexual or transgender have anything to do with past lives? Sexuality is a complex subject. Our soul or spiritual essence is fundamentally androgynous. It contains both the masculine and feminine energies and potentials. Since human bodies on Earth are mainly genderized, i.e. polarized, a soul chooses a variety of incarnations, including many in each gender. The main or predominant genetic programming of those bodies is for sexual reproduction, which requires opposite gender breeding and intercourse. However, spirits are not restricted to opposite gender attraction. If we were totally embodying and expressing our spiritual essence, we would be hermaphroditic and bisexual. Spirits can choose any experience along the continuum of fully heterosexual to fully homosexual. They may also end up choosing a body that is the gender which is the opposite of the one the spirit personality may identify with based upon previous incarnations. The identification with a previous lifetime identity or identities may indeed influence a person's present life sexual preference or orientation, and could also be a reason for someone who identifies as transgender. Of course, there are genetic, biochemical, and social environmental factors that can shape sexual identity and preference. These multiple factors interact with and coalesce with one another to produce the sexual consciousness of the person. Many people argue over nature versus nurture, over whether one chooses or is born a particular way. The reality is more complex and nuanced than that, and the influences vary from one person to another. Keep in mind that the soul and its guides and soul family in the spiritual realm choose the basic elements of a life to be lived before the incarnation. This includes choosing a body that has whatever programming or limitations it may have, parents with whatever beliefs and limitations they may have, and other significant influences. The depth and detail of those variables chosen prior to birth can vary. It seems that typically the more a soul progresses, the more in-depth and deliberate will be its choices for what will be explored in an upcoming incarnation. This is a bit like how we go through our school education. We start out in preschool or kindergarten with very basic skills that all the children must learn. As a youth progresses through the grades, the curriculum becomes more challenging and more individualized. In middle school and high school, you may have some elective classes that you choose. In college and vocational training, you choose a very specialized curriculum that is different than what other people are studying. What is an old soul? The phrase old soul is used to refer to individuals whose souls seem wiser or more experienced than the norm of the human population. This would suggest that the current incarnation is a relatively advanced one, its soul having progressed already through many human lifetimes. Since souls originate in the highest spiritual realms, the concept of old does not apply to our regular idea of linear time. An old soul is not looked upon as being old based upon its year of initial incarnation on Earth. What is a soulmate? Soulmate is a term that has been used frequently, but with different meanings depending upon the user or context. In general, this would refer to a soul that you have some type of bond or connection with, that you encounter across multiple lifetimes. Many people use the same term to refer to romantic partners who they feel some natural deep connection to. However, the more general meaning would include all kinds of relationships that are significant, even ones that may be adversarial from a human perspective. Sometimes souls plan from the other side to provide wounding or challenges for each other in the human experience. Thus, soulmates are not always those who you feel deep affection for. They can also be those who antagonize you or push your emotional buttons. What is the between lives planning and review process like? The experiences of a spirit in the between lives afterlife realm are quite varied. There are commonly described themes and constructs, but not every experience follows the exact same format. Since each spirit is at a different stage of evolution or development of its awareness, it will have its own particular process of evaluation of where it has come from and where it will be going next. There are many things which can be explored in the spiritual realm, and that reality exists in a sense parallel to, yet intertwined with, the physical plane. Individuals under hypnosis often describe being pulled down through an energetic tunnel or vortex as they enter the new incarnation developing in the mother's womb. Authors Michael Newton, Ph.D., author of Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls, and Rob Schwartz, author of Your Soul's Plan, Your Soul's Gift, have written extensively describing specific stories of people's between lives experiences. Newton obtained his information from regression sessions, while Schwartz has also used information provided by psychic mediums to gain insight into the between lives planning process. Those are valuable resources to read, while it is helpful to recognize that not every experience will follow the same pattern, and it is important to be open to whatever your own soul shows or reveals to you, rather than being attached to expectations related to what you read that other people experienced. Basic themes explored include choosing who will join you as the other characters in your life, deciding which talents and gifts you may share or develop, determining roles you may play to help other souls grow or learn, and choosing major challenges that you will face to be catalysts for your growth as a soul. Some lives will be more pleasant and easy than others. There is no judgment of good or bad or right and wrong about these lives. There is also the recognition that sometimes we are playing the role of someone who engages in hurtful actions as part of a learning experience for all involved. So while as humans we may wish to bring the hurt and suffering to an end, it served its purpose when it occurred. What happens spiritually with abortions and miscarriages? With an abortion, the mother of a child has usually made a conscious choice, except in cases where it is forced upon the woman, to end her pregnancy and not birth the child. The soul that had considered having an incarnation through that pregnancy and the soul of the mother have interacted on the spiritual level and come to some form of agreement or acceptance of this choice. That soul may choose to have its incarnation through the same mother at a future time, or may choose an incarnation through a different set of parents. It is not uncommon for the mother to feel guilt after having had an abortion. However, be aware that the soul understands and accepts the mother's choice and is not condemning it. The body is just a vehicle for the soul's experience. So the spirit that could have incarnated through that pregnancy will find another opportunity for the earth experiences it desires. The circumstances and psychology of a mother when she is pregnant influence which soul may want to have an incarnation through the child that would be born. A woman who decides she is not ready to be a parent or to go through a pregnancy may be acting in what she perceives to be the most responsible manner for all concerned. There is no divine judgment about her choice, even if she has her own feelings of guilt or regret. There may be spiritual lessons involved, as this is an opportunity to forgive oneself and to be conscious of the responsibility and commitment involved with co-creating and nurturing a new life. With miscarriages, there is also some form of agreement or understanding on the spiritual plane that the circumstances are not suitable for the birth to occur, and the soul will not pursue an incarnation through that pregnancy. The soul may choose to incarnate with the same mother at a future time, or may choose different parents to facilitate its incarnation. Do souls ever reincarnate into the same family? Most past life memories involve being someone unrelated to your current family. Souls incarnate into a variety of cultures and ethnicities and many different time periods. Nevertheless, sometimes souls do choose to have multiple incarnations in the same biological family or bloodline. Since individuals in a family are often part of the same soul group, it would make sense that sometimes the souls would continue to collaborate with each other in that familial line. The famous pop music singer Lady Gaga has indicated that she considers herself to be the reincarnation of her aunt, who died as a young adult without getting to fully share her talents. Lady Gaga's birth name is nearly the same as her aunt's, with the first and middle names the same but reversed in order. Medium Kevin Ryerson's spirit guide also confirmed to researcher Walter Semke that Lady Gaga is a reincarnation of her aunt. This is just one documented example of a soul reincarnating into the same human family. It has been reported by those familiar with non-terrestrial humanoid incarnations that it is common in extraterrestrial civilizations for souls to go through incarnations in a linear progression where past life memories and identities are maintained. In that case, the pattern of reincarnating into the same family would likely be the rule rather than the exception. When an incarnation ends there, that spirit could just await the next births in that family to be reborn, and it would be understood that it is the same spirit entity now present in a new body. Do past lives affect the chakras and aura? The aura is the field of energy that is perceived to surround and encompass the human body. The aura includes all the energy that makes up the multiple layers of our being. That includes the beliefs, feelings, emotions, and memories that we are carrying. Past life energies can affect our present life energy field. The chakras are energy centers, vortexes, that carry spiritual energy in toward the physical body. The 7 major chakras relate to key aspects of our lives. They present a type of archetypal template for understanding the basic issues and challenges that we encounter in our human lives. based upon our development in other lifetimes and the issues the soul seeks to explore in the current life, there may be particular disturbances or imbalances present in select chakras. If you're dealing with survival, safety, and security issues, then the root chakra is likely to be affected. With issues involving creativity, sexuality, and money or abundance, there are likely sacral chakra factors involved. With issues of power, control, and confidence, the solar plexus is the area most affected. With issues of love, heartbreak, and grief, the heart chakra is affected. Communication and speaking issues generally relate to the throat chakra. Vision and perception issues pertain to the third eye or brow chakra, and issues related to one's connection to the Creator and the spiritual realm are exhibited in the crown chakra. Human life mastery would involve working to balance and harmonize all the chakras, as well as developing all the layers of the aura, including the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. We cannot master all of that in one lifetime or even a few. We experience numerous lives to address all of those challenges, as we can't focus on all the issues at the same time on the physical plane. As we gain experience and mastery, it is carried within the soul and is available for subsequent incarnations to access. This explains why some things come easily to some individuals, while the same issue may be very challenging for someone else. Will I meet my guardian angel in my regression? The concept of a, quote, guardian angel is one that is popular in Christian traditions as well as the spiritual New Age culture. There are many diverse and sometimes conflicting ideas about the guardian angels that you will find in literature about them. It is not a concept that is recognized in the same way in more ancient spiritual traditions and indigenous cultures. Many of those cultures work with spirit guides and ancestor spirits and don't have the same concept or imagery of guardian angels as are found in more modern religious traditions. It is also not something that most extraterrestrials discuss in the accounts of their communications about spirituality with Earth people. It's helpful to understand that people are accustomed to having images or symbols and personified identities to relate to spiritual concepts. In the spiritual realm, everything is just energy and consciousness, beings of light. There is indeed a powerful being that is always watching over you and seeking to help ensure that you reach the fullest potential of your current incarnation. That being is your soul, sometimes called your higher self or oversoul. Your soul self can interact with you in a variety of ways, sometimes collaborating with other spiritual beings to support you, sometimes connecting with you via the imagery of another one of your soul's incarnations, and sometimes appearing as a religious character or image that you relate to, such as Jesus, Buddha, Mother Mary, or angels. It is your soul that is supporting you in your regression session, helping you access relevant memories and connecting with any spirits that need to communicate with you. When you think about your guardian angel, consider that your own greater self is what you have come to personify in human terms as your guardian angel. Thus, you are likely interacting with your guardian angel, your greater self, whether or not you perceive some entity that fits your mental image of an angel or communicates to you that it is your guardian angel. Why don't most people believe in past lives and reincarnation? This is an issue that is culture dependent, as there are and have been many cultures that do maintain a belief in and acceptance of reincarnation. It is mainly cultures that are based either on modern monotheistic religions, such as Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, or on science and skepticism of anything spiritual, that tend to reject the idea of reincarnation or souls that experience many lifetimes. Even in the aforementioned religions, there are subcultures or sects that do have a belief in reincarnation. The reasons why modern Western civilization over the past couple of thousand years has suppressed the belief in reincarnation are complex and multifaceted. One factor is the early political forces at work with the Roman Catholic Church. Any clear references to reincarnation in early Christian texts were excluded from the Catholic canon, and the Gnostic strain of Christianity was violently attacked as heretical. In Judaism, the deeper spiritual aspects of the religious tradition have for many centuries been reserved for esoteric scholarship among Kabbalists, students of Kabbalah, the mystic wisdom teachings. The more exoteric forms of Jewish practice are focused more on how one lives in the present life, and not much attention is given to details of the afterlife or consideration of reincarnation. Islam has also neglected to promote concepts about reincarnation in the exoteric aspects of the faith that's followed by most Muslims. This is another religion that focuses a lot on a written holy book with moral rules to adhere to, rather than mysticism or direct spiritual experiences. Nevertheless, the writings of Islam, as well as those of Christianity and Judaism, do have some references that are seen to support the concept of reincarnation. Those who believe in empirical science often have the impression that there is no empirical evidence for reincarnation. In reality, however, there is extensive evidence of people accurately recalling memories of lifetimes that they otherwise had no personal knowledge of. There are also cases where people are able to speak languages of the past life personality under hypnosis that they can't speak in their regular conscious state in their current life. Additionally, there are physical features that appear related to past life phenomena, and many people who gain insight and tangible healing results from reviewing past lives. Those ignoring all this evidence are exhibiting their own belief system bias rather than following the scientific method of exploring hypotheses by collecting and analyzing data. For those seeking more background on empirical evidence regarding reincarnation and on the traditions that either support or suppress the idea of reincarnation, I recommend the Institute for the Integration of Sciences, Intuition, and Spirit, which publishes its research at www.iisis.net. And I believe that now that website, that organization, has changed its address. It's now the Reincarnation Research website, and I believe that's reincarnationresearch.com or .net. So you can search for that online and find the current web address or web location. Is it effective to do a regression for oneself using an audio recording? There are many people who successfully access past life memories and other inner guidance by listening to guided audio exercises. There are some significant differences between trying this on your own and having another person guide you in a private session. In a private regression therapy session, the therapist will communicate with you as you go through the experience and have you describe what you are perceiving and experiencing. Thus, the therapist or healing guide can then give more specific cues or directions to help you go further into the memories or reprocess what has been brought into your awareness. If you do an exercise like this on your own with a recording, then it is up to you and your own guidance to lead you through the experience, beyond whatever the basic script on the recording includes. When you do the exercise on your own, the pace of your journey may be different than what is presented on the recording. The recording may be guiding you back and concluding while you may still be in the middle of reviewing and processing a significant memory. Thus, having a person guiding you in a live session can help you receive the full potential benefit of this type of session. There can be value in trying this with a recording, while it is helpful to recognize the limitations that are involved. You may also want to have a notebook or journal ready to take notes afterwards, since you don't have another person guiding you to speak during the session and record what you describe. Should I tell my friends and family about my regression experience? This is something that you will need to discern and decide for yourself. Some people close to you might be very open to what you have to share, and there might be something you present that sparks a shift in their consciousness or a valuable dialogue. There may also be people who are skeptical or rejecting of what you have to share. It's not your responsibility to convince anyone who is not open or interested. Thus, you can determine how much you share based upon what you feel you wish to express and how the other people relate to or respond to you. If a person has reincarnated, can you still contact the spirit of that personality with a medium? The nature of time is different in the spiritual realm than on the physical plane. A spirit in that realm can connect with someone on the physical plane in any time period. Thus, even though a soul may now have a new incarnation on earth, you could still contact the spirit of a, quote, past incarnation, since that spirit exists beyond the timelines of earth. The higher self, the soul, is not directing all of its consciousness through a sequential succession of incarnations. Portions of its consciousness all exist simultaneously at the different density levels. The physical plane, the between lives or astral realm, and the realm of the greater self and pure unified consciousness. This is challenging for our linear-oriented human minds to fully understand. Are there any reasons why I should not try to explore my other lifetimes through regression? Exploring past life memories can bring valuable insights into your current life and your present identity and your personal path. Not everyone is ready or motivated to pursue this self-exploration or to seek to accelerate their personal evolution. Sometimes people may dismiss or deny what they experience and not use it as an opportunity for transformation. Sometimes individuals may have a strong attachment to their present identity and belief systems and will block or resist revisiting memories that they have suppressed, since their current persona has a very unpleasant perception of and reaction to those experiences. If you truly do not wish to be open to shifting your beliefs or your sense of self, then you may not find much value in exploring past life regression. If you desire to use regression to fuel a distorted ego, for example, trying to find out that you are someone famous or powerful in another life, then you will likely be disappointed or else redirected by your soul once your mind relaxes and lets go. Pursue the regression experience with an open heart and mind and with pure intention. It is an opportunity to let your soul guide and assist you, not a tool to build the personality facade. If you wish to remain in a state of suffering, addiction, illusion, or victimhood, then the regression experience may go counter to your present ideas and beliefs. There are not any specific conditions or issues that are not compatible with regression therapy, though there are situations where medical conditions could make it difficult for a person to actually participate in the guided regression experience. This is something you could discuss with your healthcare providers if you plan to explore past life regression and have any concerns about how it could affect your medical condition or how your medical condition could affect your ability to proceed with hypnotherapy. This concludes the third section of the book, Past Lives, Spiritual Regression, Limitless Consciousness, and Self-Integration. You can find the book on Amazon. For those who are interested in spirituality and holistic healing, I invite you to visit my website, phinsights.com, phinsights.com. For now, I wish everyone a wonderful day. Namaste.